Hi everyone. So today I'm going to start this new series called Game Every Week. As you might have guessed, it's a series where I make a game every week. Today's game is going to be called Target Game, name in progress. We're working on it. And the idea for this game is a game. It's like a first-person shooter that you can play without being able to see it. And the way that we're doing that is you can see this cursor here. This cursor can move left, it can move right, but it can't move up and down. And then if your cursor is not touching something, it'll make no sound, right? If your cursor is touching the outside of a target, because they're sort of concentric, right? So like the closer in you are, the more points it gets. It'll make a low sound. So maybe it's a scale, so it goes duh when you're on the outside, and duh when you're on the inside, and it sort of scales up. And so you can hear when your cursor is over a target, and also how close you are to the center. And as you can see in this drawing here, we've got a target coming in from the side, we've got a target going right, and the diagonal target, a target going right, that sort of thing. And the reason I wanted to make a game that you can play blind is that I've seen a lot of people do like blind challenge runs, right? So I'm putting a blindfold on, and I'm so good at games that I don't even need to see the game to be able to play it. And there's these all over the place, but there's very few games where it's like designed from the ground up to be played without sight. And I think that's a shame because like I watched this Plants vs Zombies run. I'll put a link in the description. That was played blind, and it wasn't that unreasonable to make a version of that game that can be played completely without sight. Like you never see the game because you can't see, or your vision is low, or you've got other issues. Or even your monitor's broken. Like a game you can play with your monitor broken. You know. Um, and there was a couple sound cues missing, and than that, you can play the game completely fine without being able to see it. And so for my game, I want to design it from the ground up, where even if you can't see the game, you can play it. And the way that I'm going to do that is just with very detailed sound cues. Um, and I would consider myself underread on sort of blindness in general and like low vision and stuff like that. I'll link a couple articles that I found interesting previously in terms of how you design games for blindness and low vision. I saw this one really interesting one where it was, I believe, badminton, so it has the shuttlecock, and they basically just attach sensors so that in addition to if you can see the shuttlecock, you can figure out where it is. It like makes a different sound based on where it is in the arena, or I think it's just proximity. I forget exactly how they did it, but they made it very obvious just based on sound where the shuttlecock was. So even if you couldn't see the shuttlecock, you could hit it no problem. And I think they did a similar thing with like a rolling ball and like a tennis. So the ball rolls, you can hear the ball rolling, and therefore you can figure out where it is and hit it. And so I even want to have that go down to the way like when you first open the game, half the screen is play, half the screen is options, right? And if you put your mouse here, right, it'll say play. That's probably gonna be my voice. And then over here is options, and then you'll have the option to do that with arrow keys as well. And then if you go into options, you'll see it has two back buttons, one for one on the side over here. So if you can see it, you can just click on it, but the first option in the options is back. So if you can't see this options menu and you're just going down the list, then okay, I don't want to be in the options menu anymore. Let's click on back, and we're back to the main menu, right? And now we can click play. And then, not everyone's going to want options narrated, so we got that. Music volume, all the regular options menu stuff. I've never built an options menu before, so this is going to be interesting. And then sort of back to the gameplay. I don't know in detail how I want this to work, but I think that the basic idea of you have targets, they're moving around, you're trying to shoot as many as possible, as fast as possible, and they'll tell you both visually and with audio how close you are to hitting them. And then, probably music and other sound effects in addition to all of that. I think that's everything I wanted to say. So thank you for watching the first episode of Game Every Week. If I do everything correctly, there will be an episode next Wednesday that'll be me showing this game off, and explaining the game I want to do next week. All right, thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in about a week.